It's Friday night. Say yeah. For Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. We got another busy night here, folks. Coming off of the Bizarro World broadcast we had last night. And believe me, it was Bizarro World. Trust me. Um, but we had to split it into two parts. But hopefully that will not be the case this evening. No college game to update on, no NFL game to update on, but there is one game that very much needs updating. Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. My New York Yankees and the Houston Astros. Yankees up 3-2. Not looking too good for the Bombers right now. The Astros with a 3-0 lead. Bottom of the 7th inning upcoming. And barring a major miracle in the next 2 innings, for all intents and purposes, it looks like we're headed to a winner-take-all game 7 tomorrow night. As if I didn't have enough on my plate as it is. I mean, with the USC Notre Dame game and the Michigan Penn State game, I got to flip between 3 games tomorrow night. Joy. I was hoping it'd be 2, but you never know. Anything can happen. But we'll keep you updated as soon as any necessary updates come in. So, but anywho, last night, Dodgers win the pennant. Memphis comes back from 17 down to beat Houston 42-38. But what about Thursday night football last night? The Kansas City Chiefs, the Oakland Raiders, the Black Hole in Oakland. Raiders win 31-30 as time expired. I'm open forming this. So whoever wants to jump in first, brief thought on it, and I don't want to wait. I don't want to take up too much time on this because there are some great games I want to get into. So, Bullock, a brief thought about last night's game. Unbelievable.
Yes, this was an unbelievable game last night. So unbelievable, they're actually showing it again on NFL Network right now because they are calling it an instant classic, and that's what it was last night.
Amen.
I mean, this was a game the Oakland Raiders had to win because they didn't want to go to 2-5 with the schedule they got coming up because it's a tough schedule after the Kansas City game. So this game pretty much saved their season. I mean, and two guys that really stood out to me. Obviously, Derek Carr, a great performance, but not just Michael Crabtree really stepped up, but finally, Amari Cooper finally had a breakout game. I mean, we kept wondering when he was going to finally break out, and he did with 2 touchdown receptions last night. I mean, Kansas City, I thought they played a really good game too, but it was just those 2 crucial penalties as time expired that really killed them. I mean, if it weren't for those 2, they probably would have been the ones coming out with the victory. So now, I'm going to say this right now, that AFC, especially the number 1 seed overall, it's anybody's for the taking now after this second straight loss for Kansas City. I mean, New England's certainly up for that. Pittsburgh, I mean, I can go on and on with the certain teams that certainly could be up for that, but a huge win for Oakland last night. But the only issue I had was Marshawn Lynch. I mean, what in the world were you thinking? Not only coming off the sidelines, but shoving a ref? That is an absolute no-no. I mean, that is an automatic cause for an ejection. And we just found out today he has been suspended for 1 game. So, yeah, that was the only negative from this. But overall, it was just an unbelievable game. Like I said, one that Oakland had to win. They got it to keep their season alive. So, nothing more to say. Fletch, all I can say is what a game last night.
I'm just going to keep it brief. I'm not really feeling too well, guys, so I'm just you're not going to really get the the real Michael Fletcher here tonight. I don't even know if I'm going to stick around for the power rankings. I'm going to be real honest with you. My head is throbbing right now. I'm not in a good place. Yeah, this was an unbelievable game. This was um, best game of the year, no doubt about it. And for all those people who says that we should get rid of Thursday night, this is a big FU to all those people at it, because if you did not enjoy yourself and did not enjoy that game last night, then basically you have no right to watch football ever again. Florio, it's yours.
Wow. Absolutely right. I mean, five-star classic, Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. I mean, definitely will rank up there as one of the greatest Thursday night games of all time since this concept started. But boy, howdy, what a phenomenal game. You know, we broke it down a little bit last night. So yeah, so let's not take too much more time on that. Let's dive on into the action for week 7. And we're gonna start it off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against my team, the Buffalo Bills, New Era Field in Orchard Park, New York, formerly Rich Stadium and Ralph Wilson Stadium. This one will be on Fox, and on the call for that one is going to be Chris Myers with Daryl Moose Johnston and Laura Oakman. The spread favors the Buffalo Bills by 3, and Tampa Bay leads the all-time series 7-3. The last meeting was 2013. Tampa Bay won 27-6 in Tampa Bay. Believe it or not, guys, every game they've played in this series, every game has been in Tampa Bay except for one game that was in Buffalo, and that was in 2009, week number 2. I remember that very vividly. And the Buffalo Bills won that game 33-20. And I remember T.O. actually had a touchdown in that game for Buffalo. Terrell Owens, he got a touchdown for Buffalo in that game. I remember that very well. But 7-3, Tampa Bay leads the all-time series there. So, and a quick thought about last night's game there. You know, there are some numbers that definitely need to be addressed in this one. So, you know, did you guys know before the season started, FPI projected the AFC West as one of the closest divisional races, with the Chiefs as slight favorites over the Raiders to win the division? 6 weeks later, I mean, what else is there to say except 6 weeks later, we have teams nearing either extreme of their projected outcomes, and a divisional race largely seen as a fair accomplishment there. Chiefs have surpassed all expectations, winning 5 of their first 6, well, 5 of their first 7 in this case. And even with this loss last night, they still have an 87% chance to win the division. While Oakland, before last night, failed to live up to expectations or projections, starting 2-4, prompting FPI to give them a less than 1% chance at the division and just a 6% chance at the postseason. Even with the win, which it was, the division may be out of reach, but making the playoffs becomes a 10% possibility. So that's the number on that. So just wanted to get that out in the open. So now to Tampa Bay and Buffalo. Bucs defensive coordinator Mike Smith said it best: "We're up and down like a freaking yo-yo in terms of between series and between games. We've got to be a consistent defense." In week 5, Tampa Bay held the New England Patriots to a season-low 19 points. In week 6, the Bucs surrendered 38 to the Arizona Cardinals with 24 in the first half. If they don't shore up their run fits, it'll be another long flight home. The Bills are playing their first home game in 28 days. Good news for a team that has the 4th highest point margin a game at home, 9.5. With Charles Clay out and Jordan Matthews potentially playing in his first game since breaking his thumb on October 1, Buffalo will need its running game to finally get going after averaging 3.4 yards a rush over the first 5 games. 29th in the league. The Bills are 16-8 since 2015 when gaining more than 115 yards, and a dismal 2-11 when they gain 115 or fewer. But I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this game. My final score is going to be 21-17 over Tampa Bay. I mean, Jameis Winston, might be on a little in the Arizona. It sucks not to have Charles Clay, but getting Matthews back, that's good news. And we definitely need Shady in the running game to get going. Because you heard the number, 16-8 since 2015, when we've rushed for at least $115 or more. If we're under that, 2-11. So all we got to do is just get the running game going, and we'll be just fine. And I think they will get going. So I'm going to go Buffalo, 21-17. That's my final. MF. Tampa Bay, Buffalo, meeting for only the second time in Buffalo. All the other meetings in Tampa. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I gotta say, I'm gonna go with the Bills too. Like I said, tonight's gonna be short and sweet for me. You're not gonna get much from me at all. So Buffalo wins 21-17. I agree with the score line too. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills as well. I'm going to go with that same score, 21-17. Yeah, I mean, I just had so much on this Bills team. Not the Bills. I mean, the Buccaneers. But I mean, Jameis Winston obviously hurting, but obviously he's going to be able to. He's going to play. But I just like what I've seen from this Bills team, especially with their defense. So. Yeah, I definitely want to see some more out of Shady McCoy and that offense. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move on to our next game, Florio.
Yes, indeed, and that's going to be the Carolina Panthers squaring off against the Chicago Bears. And believe it or not, folks, of course we know this is going to be at Soldier Field in Chicago. Normally, this game would be, considered a Fox game, but CBS is actually going to have this game. And Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn are going to be working it. And, yeah, part of that NFC crossover that we've seen on CBS. We already saw that earlier in the year, that very good Seattle Ram game, Again, that actually got me and MF to actually jump over to the other side for a game. But Carolina and Chicago, that's the matchup we're going to get into now. Like I said, Eagle, Fouts, and Washburn will have it on CBS. And it's Carolina as a 3-point favorite. Chicago Bears 5-3. Their last meeting was 2014 in Charlotte. 2012, Bears won that one 23-22. Panthers have not won in Chicago. Well, actually, they've only won in Chicago once, and it wasn't a regular season game. It was a playoff game. It was the NFC divisional playoff, January of 2006, part of the 2005 season, 29-21. That's the only time they've won in Chicago. So I believe those are all the schematics here. So, the judge. All right, the judge finally getting going. All right, hopefully that's a good sign for the Yanks. Hopefully they can get going here. So, all right, so MF provided that little update. MF, we go to you now. You start this one off. Carolina and Chicago, NFC crossover on CBS, Soldier Field. Thoughts on this?
It's gonna be an interesting game, no doubt about it. Mitchell Trubisky had an okay game, made a little bit of some rookie mistakes in the last start out. Not only that, but you don't really know about Cam Newton. Where is his mindset, especially now he missed the media availability not too long ago, and there's been a lot of concern about his level of play. Is he really, what's going on with him in the whole 9 yards? He's been roughed up a little bit this season, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. But I think with Christian McCaffrey, with the running game that they got, plus a good defense that Carolina brings to the table, I think Carolina will have just enough weapons to get the job done. So I got them winning this game. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Mitchell Trubisky. I thought he had a good, not great first start as the Bears quarterback. I mean, But the thing is, I mean, I like Carolina in this game. I mean, with Cam Newton and obviously that running game, especially with the young stud Christian McCaffrey here. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, I got the Carolina Panthers winning this one. I'm going to say 24-14 is going to be my final score. So, Florio, it's yours.
The Panthers are 3-0 on the road and have averaged 27.7 points away from Bank of America Stadium. They're scoring 15 points per game at home, where they are 1-2. The expected return of Pro Bowl center Ryan Khalil should shore up some communication issues on the offensive line and help a struggling running game. If Cam Newton can continue to put up good road numbers, 8 of his 9 touchdowns on the road, with only 2 of his 8 interceptions away from home, the Bears will have a tough time scoring enough to keep pace behind a rookie quarterback. Bears have won consecutive games only twice in the John Fox era, both times in 2015. Aside from Chicago's inconsistencies under Fox, Carolina's 5th-ranked rushing defense, 83.3 yards a game, is a real problem. The Bears must dominate on the ground to be successful. It's too soon to ask rookie quarterback Mitchell Trubisky to win a game by throwing the ball 35 times. The Bears don't have enough weapons at wide receiver for that to happen. But, Chicago's actually been playing solid lately, so I think they could hang with Carolina, but I think ultimately Carolina will win. I think they'll hang early, but I think Carolina will pull away late. So I'm going to say Carolina wins 28-13. That's going to be my final. So give me the Carolina Panthers. So with that being said, we now move on to, the Zonk game of the week. The Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Cleveland Browns at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. This game, per tradition, this is a CBS game. Nothing to worry about there. So it'll be Spiriditas and Adam Archuleta. They'll be on the call for the Titans and the Browns as they renew old acquaintances, former AFC Central Division rivals once upon a time. Tennessee, a 5.5 to 6 point favorite, which solid spread, to say the least. And series history favors the Cleveland Browns, dating back to the old days, 35-29. They've met 3 years in a row. This will be the 4th straight year they're meeting. They met last year in Nashville, and Tennessee won that game 28-26. Last meeting in Cleveland was 2015, and the Browns won that one 28-14. Tennessee last won in Cleveland in 2011. That was a 31-13 beat downs. So all the schematics out of the way. Michael Bullock, we started off with you. Tennessee, Cleveland, Zonk game of the week. I think we all know who wins this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste a lot of my time on this one. I got Tennessee winning this one. I think Mariota's going to have a solid game here. The running game led by DeMarco Murray, I think will play really good here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
Yeah. The Titans are playing the winless Browns just 6 days after an emotional victory over division rival Indianapolis on Monday night. But the Titans know the potential dangers if they sleepwalk into Cleveland. They already have circled the Browns' running game and talented rookie pass rusher Myles Garrett as elements they would like to limit Sunday. This seems like a game where the Titans finally can get ahead early, then lean on their running game to lead the rest of the way. Anyone who picked the Browns a week ago probably should never pick them or any games again. However, it's impossible to believe this team is as bad as it has been playing. That might be depending on smoke and mirrors, but the one thing the Browns have done this season is stop the run. The Browns are 6th in the league against the run and are facing a team that is 3rd in the league in rushing. The difference? It's tough to travel after a Monday night game. Browns could end the scheme, but let's be realistic. I don't think so. Especially with Mariota back in. It's Tennessee. 27-13, Tennessee wins. MF, your thoughts on the Zonk game of the week?
I got Tennessee winning the game. Nothing more to say, guys. Let's just move on.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, now we're going to move on to, I believe this game is one of our top 5 games of the week. Yes, it is. We have an FBI game finally. The New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Now, this game will be broadcast on Fox, and we definitely have a bit to say on this one in a matter of moments. Fox has it, and it will be Kenny Albert sitting in for Kevin Burkhardt. He's going to be working with Kevin Burkhardt's crew, Charles Davis and Pam Oliver. And the spread is 4 to 4.5, and it's New Orleans as the favorite. Now, a lot of people are saying, how can New Orleans be a 4 and 4.5 point favorite? It's Green Bay. It's Lambeau. I don't know if you watched last week, but if you're living under a rock, you might have known what happened. Aaron Rodgers, the Packers' American hero quarterback, broke the collarbone in a loss to Minnesota last week in Minnesota. He's done for the year. That is as costly a loss as you could ever have. Now, I may be all in on the Buffalo Bills, but Green Bay is my second favorite, and my heart aches, not just for them, but also for Aaron Rodgers, man. I mean, I feel so bad, but nonetheless, this game is still a top 5 game of the week. It's the number 5 game of the week according to FBI. By the way, Kansas City and Oakland was ranked the game of the week, and and judging by how that game went last night, you can see why it was. But New Orleans, Green Bay, number 5, then here we go. FPI does account for quarterback injuries, so it has already downgraded the Packers' rating and resulting chance to win substantially as a result of the loss of Aaron Rodgers. Just like he is to everyone else, backup Brett Hundley is a major unknown in the model. FPI handles quarterbacks who have never played in the league before by guessing that they are at replacement level. So it is guessing Hundley will be oh so slightly worse than replacement level given his poor performance last week. A non-Rodgers story to keep an eye on in this one is the surprising competency of the Saints defense. From an expected points per game standpoint, New Orleans pass defense ranks 14th, and its run defense ranks 18th in the league so far. That might not sound like much, but considering how often the Saints defense has let down Drew Brees in the past, this is an interesting development that could keep the Saints relevant deep into the season. I forgot to mention the series history favors the Green Bay Packers 16-8. However, the New Orleans Saints won the last meeting in 2014. That was in New Orleans, 44-23. Last meeting at Lambeau was 2012. Green Bay won that 28-27. Saints last won at Lambeau back in 2006. That was a 34-27 win. So 16-8 Green Bay in the all-time series. This has trap game written all over it since the line in Las Vegas swung 10 points over the weekend. But that's what happens when a team loses an all-world quarterback, as the Packers did with Aaron Rodgers to a broken collarbone. And the Saints suddenly have the hottest defense in the NFL. A shutout against Miami in Week 4 in London, and a franchise record 3 defensive touchdowns in the Week 6 win over Detroit. Saints quarterback Drew Brees will be making his 238th career start, while Green Bay's Brett Hundley will make his first. According to ESPN Stats and Information, that's the second biggest disparity in NFL history, behind Matt Castle making his debut against Brett Favre in 2008, during a Jets and Patriots game, of course. The Packers are 3-5-1 since 2008 when Rodgers doesn't start. Matt Flynn won all 3 of those games, and he isn't quarterbacking the Packers on Sunday. What's more, the offensive line in front of new starter Hundley is a mess. No 5-man group has played more than 89 snaps together for the Packers this season, according to ESPN Stats and Information. That will not help settle the offense. I know it's a small spread, but I have no confidence in Hundley whatsoever. He was terrible against Minnesota, but that was in Minnesota. And even though he's going to be at home against Drew Brees, son, I respect you, but you got no chance. New Orleans Saints are going to win this game. Michael Fletcher, yeah, he's called it a night. Not a big surprise. We hope he feels better. Hopefully, he'll be better for tomorrow night. But
yeah, he tried, but I guess in the end, he just couldn't do it.
Understandable.
Yeah, it's definitely understandable. He definitely needs to get some rest.
He certainly does. And now he's got both Packers and Saints listed. I really don't know who he has, but I think he's going with the Saints in this one. I'm not sure, but Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts. New Orleans and Green Bay. I got New Orleans winning. My final score is 33-20. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got the New Orleans Saints winning this one as well. I mean, I just have no faith in Hundley. I mean, I just don't have any faith in him. I mean, the New Orleans Saints. I mean, they've been playing much better as of late. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I got New Orleans winning this one. 31-13 is going to be my final score. And Florio, I mean, I did hear that there's a chance, and I'm just saying there's a chance that Aaron Rodgers could return by week 15.
That's the case. That's a praise God moment if there ever was one. So we'll definitely be shouting out praise God if 8 weeks from now, well, he is indeed back. I mean, that would be something. So let's just move on to our next game. And well, Michael Bullock, you'll be leading off now. Now that MF has called it a night. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars squaring off against the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. This game will be on CBS, and on the call for that one, it's going to be Tom McCarthy, Steve Berline, and Steve Tasker. Jags and the Colts. This big AFC South divisional matchup on CBS, and series history: Indianapolis leads it 22-10. They split last year. Jacksonville won in London. They were the home team in that game. They won 30-27. As far as Indianapolis is concerned, the Colts won the game in Indianapolis 24-20. Matter of fact, they've won the last 4 in a row at home. Jacksonville has not won in Indianapolis since 2012. That was a 22-17 final 5 years ago. So, okay. And the spread favors Jacksonville by 3 to 3.5. And I do not believe this game made the FBI top 5. So, So, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Huge game in the AFC South.
Yeah, this is a huge game in the AFC South. I mean, I like what I've seen from Jacoby Brissett. I mean, I thought he's played well. I mean, even though it wasn't a losing effort against the Titans, but the Jaguars, I think they continue to really impress me, especially. Especially defensively, and when it comes to the offense, I mean, the rookie Leonard Fournette. I mean, what can you say about him? He's really become. He's one of the reasons why Jacksonville has been this good. So, because of that and that defense, I got to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one. I'm going to say 28-21 is going to be my final score. So, Florio, what's yours?
Jaguars haven't beaten the Colts in Indianapolis since 2012, but this is by far the best. Let me see, what do I have here? Okay. Jaguars haven't beaten the Colts in Indianapolis since 2012, but this is by far the best Jaguars team to play in Lucas Oil Stadium in that span. They lead the NFL in rushing, 166 yards a game, but maybe this is the game when quarterback Blake Bortles gets things rolling. Defenses have ganged up on Leonard Fournette. The Rams used goal line formations last week, and the Jaguars expect the Colts to do the same. That should leave opportunities for downfield plays against the Colts defense that is giving up 296 yards passing a game, 30th in the league. Number 3 pass defense behind cornerbacks Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boyd, and have picked off a league-high 10 passes. That's a good matchup against quarterback Jacoby Brissett, who is still adjusting to his role as starter. The Colts have won 4 consecutive games over the Jaguars in Indianapolis. It should be noted, though, that their 2 most recent home victories over their AFC South counterparts have been by a total the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, with all that being said, let's move on to our next matchup. And we have another divisional rivalry, this time in the NFC West. We got the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams at the Cathedral of Soccer, Wembley Stadium in London, England. Hold on a minute. I just got a message from somebody, so I'll get to that in a minute. The Cardinals lead the all-time series 38-36 with 2 ties. They split last year, both teams winning on the road. The Rams won in Arizona 17-13, and the Cardinals won in Los Angeles 44-6. This game will be on Fox, and it'll be Sam Rosen with Rondé Barber and Christina Pink. They'll be in London for the Cardinals and the Rams, and the spread, just give me a moment. Spread favors actually the Rams. Rams 3-point favorites. So here we go. Everyone saw Adrian Peterson run for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns in Arizona's Week 6 victory over Tampa Bay. The question this week is whether he can do it again. But regardless of how Arizona's offense plays, the way the Cardinals win in London is by stopping Jared Goff. The Rams are the highest scoring team in the league and have a top 10 passing game. But with Patrick Peterson nursing a quad injury and questions about Justin Bethel's status as a starter, Arizona could need others to step up on defense. Against the Jags last week, the Rams consistently played 6 players on the line of scrimmage in what looked a lot like a goal line defense in hopes of stopping Leonard Fournette on the ground. They can't do that against the Cardinals, even though Peterson is coming off a 134-yard game against the Bucs. The Rams have to account for Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald, too. Not to worry, the Rams, 3.5-point favorites, have a front 7 that should make life difficult for the Cardinals' offensive line. Offensively, the Rams are far better than anything the Cardinals have seen from them in the recent past. So with that being said, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams to win. My final score, 27-24. Michael Bullock, I give it to you. I just got to check my message real quick. So it's probably Fletcher's. So
that was me.
Oh, it was you. What happened?
That was me, Florio.
Oh, okay. Well, what did you message me for?
Well, I just lost you there for a moment.
Oh, okay.
It just hung up on me.
Oh, okay. But you're back now.
Yeah.
All right. It's Arizona and the Rams in London at Wembley. Your thoughts?
Oh, what's the game again?
Arizona and the Rams.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, this Rams team is really starting to catch my attention here. I mean, Jared Goff, I'll tell you, whatever Sean McVay is whatever he's whatever he's done, it's making it work. And Todd Gurley's getting back to that form, and I like what I've seen from this defense. So, and then of course you had Adrian Peterson, who had a really good first game with the really good first game with the with the Cardinals. This is a tough one, but I really like what I've seen from the Rams. So I'm going to go with the LA Rams to win this one. I'm going to say 31-24 is going to be my final score. Jared Goff's going to have a solid game. Same thing with Gurley. And the defense, I think, will have another really good game here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. So, Flory, what's yours?
No, I guess it did drop on my end. Okay, because I don't see all that stuff from Fletch anymore. So, yeah, now I don't know who we went with. So we're just gonna have to wing it. So, all right. Keep your mic on, Bullet, because you're gonna be leading off on the next one. Another divisional rivalry game, and these two already meeting for the second time this year. AFC East implications aplenty in this one. We got the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, or Miami Gardens, Florida, as some call it. This game, believe it or not, normally this is a CBS game, but Fox actually got this one, and what a coup for Fox to get this game. I mean, lucky them. So let's see who's going to be on the call for this one. I believe Dan Hellie from the NFL Network. Yes, Dan Hellie, who's sitting in for Tom Brenneman. He's working with Tom Brenneman's crew, Chris Spielman and Peter Schrager. They'll be in Miami for the Jets and the Dolphins on Fox. And the Miami Dolphins, 3-point favorites. Series history. We got to update the series history. The Jets lead it. It's now 54-48 with a tie, because you remember a few weeks ago in New York, the Jets beat the Dolphins. I believe it was 20-6. And the Jets have actually done well against the Dolphins in Miami. They won the last few meetings there, and including a London game where technically the Dolphins were the home team in 2015. But the Dolphins have not beaten the Jets at home since 2011. That was a 1917 win. The Jets won there in Miami last year, 27-23. So, all right, Michael Bullock, we get to you now. We got the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. Huge stakes in the AFC East, as the East standings have just gotten interesting. The Jets, they played your Patriots tough again, man, at MetLife, but your Pats found a way to win. And the Dolphins, coming off, what did the Dolphins do last week? They went into Atlanta and upset the NFC champs. Something's got to give here.
Oh, yes, something definitely has got to give here in this. This is a big game in the division here, and I think it's going to determine, I think it'll determine how this, who's going to keep up with New England. So, yeah, the Dolphins, with what they did, coming back and winning that at Atlanta, man, I don't think anybody saw that coming. And the Jets really did challenge the Patriots. But to me, I like what I've seen from the Dolphins lately. They've been playing better as of late. So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins over the Jets here. I'm gonna go 30-14 is gonna be my final score. So Florio, what's yours?
I don't have it that high scoring, but anywho, the Jets have won 4 of their past 5 road games against the Dolphins. More important, their offense will be at full strength for the first time in a month with the return of running back Bilal Powell. This will be an ugly, low-scoring game between 2 pedestrian offenses, as neither has scored more than 2 touchdowns in a game. The Jets believe they can rattle Jay Cutler into a couple of turnovers, and that could be the difference. The Dolphins were embarrassed by the Jets in Week 3, and that revenge and motivation should have Miami focused at home Sunday. The Dolphins have won a franchise record 11 consecutive games decided by 7 points or fewer, and this should be another close one. Look for Miami's defense to force a pair of turnovers in an ugly game. I agree with you, Bullock. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins to win as well. Not as high as you have it. And I think it's going to be a lot closer. I got Miami winning 17-14. That's my final. So give me the Dolphins over the Jets in Miami Gardens. So we move on to what is, I believe, our final 1 o'clock matchup. And this is an interesting one. An interesting inter-conference matchup. By the way, the Houston Astros have opened the floodgates, literally. It's now 7-1. Houston going to the ninth. Safe to say we're definitely headed for a game 7. No question about that. So I don't think we need to bother with any more updates. I mean, I think all we can say is see you tomorrow night. So, all right. Baltimore Ravens, Minnesota Vikings, U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, the home of Super Bowl 52. This game will be on CBS. We got Greg Gumbel with Trent Green and Jamie Erdahl. They'll be there for that. And Minnesota, a 5.5-point favorite. And Baltimore leads the all-time series 3-2. Their last meeting was 2013 in Baltimore, and the Ravens won 29-26. Their last meeting in Minnesota was 2009, and the Vikings won that game 33-31 in the old Metrodome. And Brett Favre was a big reason why. And Baltimore has never won in Minnesota, and this is only the second time they're meeting in Minnesota. Just like that Buffalo-Tampa series, all the other games in Baltimore, this is only the second time they're meeting in Minnesota. So I believe this one did not make the top 5, although you could make an argument that it could have. But Baltimore has been limited to 4 offensive touchdowns in its past 4 games, going 1-3 during that stretch, and will now face a Vikings defense that yields the 5th fewest points in the NFL. To make matters worse, Vikings coach Mike Zimmer repeatedly frustrated Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco when he was the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati. Unless the Baltimore defense can force turnovers, it'll be difficult for the Ravens to move the ball against Minnesota. The Vikings ride a 2-game win streak into Week 7, including last Sunday's 23-10 victory over the Packers, and are 3-1 at home this season. What's more, none of Minnesota's victories inside U.S. Bank Stadium have been by fewer than 10 points. This top-tier defense is rolling, while Case Keenum and the offense have found a groove, even when not at full strength. So I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. My final score, 24-14. So with that being said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Baltimore and Minnesota? I got the Vikings 24-14.
Yeah, I got the Vikings winning this one as well. It should be a good game. It should be a good game, but I just have not been impressed with the way Joe Flacco has been playing as of late. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I got excuse me. Yeah, I got Minnesota winning as well. My final score, I'm gonna say 21-14 is gonna be my final score. So yeah, now let's move into the late games.
We only have one 405 game, but may not be a glamorous matchup today, but it's one of the great rivalries in NFL history. The Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. This is where it's going to be. And the A-team will be working it. Of course, Tom Brenneman will be sitting in for Joe Buck while Joe Buck does the baseball playoff coverage. Tom Brenneman will be working with Joe Buck's crew with Troy Aikman and Aaron Andrews. They will be in San Fran for that one. And Dallas, a 6 to 7 point favorite. Series history, it's the San Francisco 49ers who lead it 15-12 with the one tie. They met last year in San Francisco. Dallas won 24-17. 49ers have not beaten the Cowboys at home since all the way back in 1997, if you can believe that. That was a 17-10 final. Of course, that was when that was during the glory days of the Niners. You know, when they had Steve Young and Jerry Rice and all those guys running around. But nonetheless, 15-12 with a tie in favor of San Francisco. So they've met 7 times in the postseason. Dallas winning 5-2 in that regard. They've met in, I believe they have met in 5 or 6 NFC Championship games. 2, 3, 4, 5 NFC Championship games, and I believe 2 divisional games. So I might be wrong on that. I gotta look this over once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's actually 6 NFC championships and 1 divisional playoff. But nonetheless, Dallas leads at 5-2. So Michael Bullock, I know nowadays this matchup has written all over it, but you can't deny that Dallas and San Francisco, one of the greatest NFC rivalries of all time, especially in the late 80s and early 90s. Those memorable playoff matchups they had, and so sad that this once great rivalry has now officially lost its luster.
Yeah, it is sad. I mean, this rivalry was, it was something really good back then. Obviously of course, with the old days, especially, you can't forget about the famous catch by Dwight Clark in the NFC Championship game. That was definitely a great moment there. But man, those days are gone. So, yeah, unfortunately, I got Dallas winning this one, and it's not even close. I have no confidence in this 49ers team, so there's nothing more to say. Flory, what's yours?
I couldn't agree with you more, Bullock. All those legends. All the legends that played in this rivalry. You know, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young. You know, just to name a few. Yeah, sad to say the glory days of this once rivalry are over. The Cowboys have a 20-9 record after a bye week, but are just 12-7 on the road in their first game back from a 1-week break. Their 2 previous opponents, the Rams and Packers, used 10-day breaks to their advantage in beating the Cowboys. For the 10th time since Jerry Jones purchased the team in 1989, the Cowboys are 2-3 after 5 games. They have made the playoffs just once after such a start. A loss to the winless Niners would not end the Cowboys season, but it would be debilitating, particularly if running back Ezekiel Elliott has to serve his 6-game suspension at some point this season. Quarterback Dak Prescott has not been 2 games under 500 in his short career. On the day the Niners are honoring Dwight Clark, like you said, Bullock, and with Joe Montana set to be in the building as well, this sets up as a game in which San Francisco could spring a surprise. However, this is not a great matchup for the Niners, who have struggled defensively against offensive lines that don't rank near the bottom of the league. Dallas's group hasn't been its dominant self so far, but has plenty of talent. If the Niners can get a pass rush going, Prescott could throw 3 touchdown passes for the 3rd consecutive game and give the Cowboys their 5th win in 6 games against the 49ers. So I agree with you, Bullock. I'm going with the Cowboys. But knowing that Dwight Clark and Joe Montana are going to be there, that might give the Niners a little bit of some confidence. But I think ultimately Dallas will find a way to win. 27-23. I'm going with Dallas to win. So not a lot to say here. But who knows? Maybe the rivalry could actually get some steam back, especially with those 2 legends there. The infamous catch in that unforgettable NFC Championship game in January of '82. So now we move on to the 425 games, and we started off with another crossover game. Normally, this game, you would see a game like this on Fox, but CBS is going to air this one as well. It's going to be the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Giants from actually, no, I apologize for that. Went in the wrong order there. this is a CBS game, a normal CBS game. The Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers at the StubHub Center in Carson City, California. CBS will have it, and it's going to be with Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, and a local San Diego reporter by the name of Amanda Balionis. They'll be there for Broncos and Chargers. And this is a pick'em game, believe it or not. There is no favorite. This is a pick'em game. And it's also our high leverage game of the week. So let's get into this. Before I do series history, series history favors the Denver Broncos, including the Broncos' exciting win on opening night on that Monday night, 64-50 with the one tie. But the Chargers technically have an advantage because the Chargers did beat the Broncos at home last year, 21-13. That was in San Diego. But now they're in Los Angeles now. So here we are. High leverage game of the week. FPI is kind of in on the Chargers. It has them as the 17th best team in the NFL going forward, sandwiched right between the Texans and the Raiders. Not bad for a 2-4 squad. The scores of their games show why. Their 4 losses were a 3-point loss at the Broncos, a 2-point loss to the Dolphins, 14-point loss to the Chiefs, and a 2-point loss to the Eagles. They were all close aside from the game against the best team in the NFL. Granted, the Chargers beat the Raiders by only 1 point last week, but it isn't picking Los Angeles to win the Super Bowl here. It's just saying the Chargers are okay and about the same as the Broncos. All that being said, the Chargers' rush defense has been a hindrance, ranking 31st in expected points added per game this year, which isn't ideal against a Broncos team that is better attacking on the ground than through the air. If the Chargers beat the Broncos, they would have a 17% chance to reach the postseason, which at least isn't nothing. The Broncos do have some injuries of concern on offense. Wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders is out with an ankle injury. Right tackle Menelik Watson won't play unless his calf injury improves drastically into the weekend. And wide receiver Demaryius Thomas was limited in practice this week. So the Broncos' chances on offense hinge on their running game. 140 yards rushing in the season opener against the Chargers. And whether players who wanted more opportunities to catch the ball make the most of those, defense usually travels as the adage goes. And there figure to be plenty of Bronco fans in the seats in a stadium where the Chargers are 0-3 this season. The Chargers could be the pick here to make it 3 in a row. Denver quarterback Trevor Siemian is dealing with an injured left shoulder and has experienced a dip in play after his hot start, throwing 4 interceptions and just 2 touchdown passes in the Broncos' past 3 games. Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa will force Siemian into some mistakes Sunday, and Phillip Rivers finally will get the Chargers offense going early. But if I'm going to be real honest with you, this is in at the Chargers stadium. They haven't won there yet. Don't quite have the confidence. So I know they've won 2 in a row, but that was at MetLife and in Oakland, not against Denver. Denver will eke it out 24-23. Denver just barely escapes. So Michael Bullock, Denver, and the Chargers. Can the Chargers finally win a home game in that stadium of theirs? Not really a fan of it. Way too small. It's a soccer stadium.
Yeah, not a big fan of it either. So yeah, I don't see the Broncos winning. I don't see the Chargers winning even on their home field. I mean, it's just, if you want to call it a home field, because of how small that stadium is. Ugh. So there's really nothing more to say. I mean, you pretty much touched on everything. I got excuse me. Yeah, I got Denver winning as well. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's just move on, Florio.
And we move on to our next 4:25 game, the Seattle Seahawks squaring off against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. This game on CBS. Andrew Catalon and James Lofton on the call. Seattle a 4-point favorite. And the series history between these two favors the Giants 9-8, even though the Seahawks have won the last 3 meetings in a row. They last met in 2014. Seahawks won 38-17 in Seattle. Their last meeting in New York, the Seahawks won 23-0 in 2013. The Giants have not beaten the Seahawks at home since 2008, which was their final year at the old Giants Stadium, 44-6 beatdown. This is the number 3 game of the week according to the FPI, and really nothing more to say on this. So Michael Bullock, Seattle, they're right there as always. But the Giants, though, how about the Giants? No Odell Beckham, no Brandon Marshall, no Sterling Shepard. Yet they go into Denver and beat the Broncos last Sunday night. What? How?
I don't think any of us saw that coming. None of us did. I mean, we all thought Denver was going to have a field day with the Giants, but the Giants defense, you got to get. I thought they played really well in that Sunday night game against Denver, and I thought Eli Manning played really well as well. So, yeah, but let's be honest. I mean, they're going up against the Seahawks in that Legion of Boom in Seattle, home of the 12th man. I just don't see the Giants going into Seattle and beating this team. I'll be shocked if that's the case. So, in the end, I got the Seahawks winning it. I'm going to say 24-10 is going to be my final score. I think Russell Wilson's going to have a solid game. Jimmy Graham, I think, will have a solid game as well. So, yeah, so that defense will be its dominant self. So, nothing more to say. And it is official. The Houston Astros have won 7-1. So it'll be winner take all Game 7 tomorrow night. So you're going to be really busy with that remote, Florio.
I really wanted to be all in on Notre Dame, honestly, especially with the SC game.
Well, you've got no choice tomorrow.
I got to flip between 3 games tomorrow night. Jesus. USC Notre Dame, Game 7, and Michigan Penn State. Oh, Lord. I was hoping it would be just the 2 college games, but our college double main event, which we got into last night. But alrighty. Nonetheless, Seattle and the Giants. Let's get into it. How this game is the number 3 in the FPI is beyond me. But expect plenty of defense in this contest, as both the visiting Seahawks, 2nd in defensive FPI, and the host Giants, 5th, ranked near the top of the league in defensive FPI. The Giants are coming off of their best defensive performance of the season and getting their first win of the year at Denver, where they had a defensive efficiency of 93.5. Seattle is coming off a bye week, but has posted a defensive efficiency of 80 or better in 2 of its past 3 games. If the Giants can't pull off the upset, they once again will be more likely to end up with the number 1 pick in the 2017 draft, 0.8%, than they will end up in the playoffs, 0.7%. It may not seem like much, but a win would double their chances of making the playoffs to 4%. From the current 2%. Even with the Giants notching their first victory of the season in impressive fashion last week, this matchup still heavily favors the Seahawks. They're coming off a bye, and their defense has started to hit its stride, allowing only 26 points over the past 2 games, while forcing 6 turnovers, and the Seahawks are returning to a place where they've had nothing but success. They're 4-0 at MetLife Stadium, including their blowout win in Super Bowl 48 and a 23-0 shutout of the Giants that same 2013 season, when they picked off Eli Manning 5 times. A surging Seattle defense with a week of rest against the Giants offense without Odell Beckham Jr. is a recipe for a drama-free victory. The Giants dominated in Denver, but it still took 3 forced turnovers and a defensive touchdown for them to reach 23 points with their revamped offense, which produced only 266 total yards with its new run-first approach. The Seahawks appear primed to play a complete game for the first time this season, coming off their bye week. Pete Carroll's teams have won 3 of their past 4 games after a bye. This is another tough spot for the beat-up Giants, who won't catch Seattle off guard. I'm going with Seattle. My final score, 26-13. I got Seattle beating the Giants in the Meadowlands, and the Seahawks will make it 5-0 in the Meadowlands, including that epic squash of the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 48, which we agreed was the worst Super Bowl of all time. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next game, and we got a few games left, but boy, howdy, these next 3 games, they're all biggies. And I do mean biggies, if I do say so myself. 2 great divisional rivalries, and of course, an epic rematch of the century. Our big main event is just 1 game away, but this next game, boy, howdy, this is worth it, though. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. CBS has it. And for the second time this week, hello, friends. Off their epic call from last night, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, they will be at Heinz Field for the Bengals and the Steelers. How this game didn't make the top 5 in the FPI is beyond me, given these 2 rivals' history, which has produced so many memorable moments.
Especially that wild card playoff game a couple of years back.
Yeah, the night where Vontaze Burfict became the most hated man in Cincinnati. No doubt about it. Steelers lead the all-time series 58-35. The Steelers have won the last 4 meetings in a row, including that playoff game, Bullock, that wild card game. Steelers won both meetings last year. They won 24-16 in Pittsburgh. Cincinnati last won in Pittsburgh the year before, 2015. That was a 16-10 final. But nonetheless, 58-35 in favor of Pittsburgh all time in this series. So this did not make the top 5. I still can't believe that, but it is what it is. So all right, Bengals and Steelers. And when it comes to the AFC side of the ledger, MF and I had this as our game of the week, but we might have to rethink that after what Kansas City and Oakland did last night. But nonetheless, it's still a great matchup. The Bengals have lost 7 of their past 8 games to the Steelers. However, the Bengals defense is playing better than it has in several years. It pressures quarterbacks at a league-leading rate of 34%, according to ESPN Stats and Information. If the Bengals can pressure Ben Roethlisberger into making some errant throws, as he did in the loss to the Jaguars, they might be able to squeak out just enough points to win. The Steelers are 4-2 despite not playing their best, and Roethlisberger is eager to show his 5-interception performance in his previous game at Heinz Field, where he has 175 touchdown passes for his career, was an aberration. The Bengals' second-ranked defense has 18 sacks in 5 games and will be a problem for Pittsburgh. But on the other side, quarterback Andy Dalton has 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions in his most recent 3.5 games against the Steelers. The matchup favors the home team, and I agree. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win. My final score, 24-20. Should be another great game between these 2. So Michael Bullock, Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers. One of our games of the week, in my opinion. How this is not in the FPI is beyond me, but should be I expect another close one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a close one. Like you said, basically with the history of these 2, I mean, especially going back to their playoff game 2 years ago, I mean, a lot of drama, and like you said, that's where Vontaze Burfict became the most hated man in Cincinnati. So yeah, getting back to the present, I mean Pittsburgh. What can you say? I mean, they went into Kansas City to beat the then previously undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. So that was a statement win right there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, I mean, it was a great win for them. I expect them to continue this against the Bengals. So yeah, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this one. My final score, 31-24 is going to be my final score. Ben Roethlisberger is going to have a solid game. Le'Veon Bell, I think he'll have another solid game on the ground. And Antonio Bryant, I think he'll have Antonio Brown, I should say, will have a really good game as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So Florio.
You ready, Bullock?
Oh, I am ready for the game of the week.
The rematch of the century. This is the main event. I only wish MF was here, but it is what it is. this is what the words main event were truly meant for. Because this game coming up here, it is the main event. It don't get no bigger. The rematch of the greatest Super Bowl ever played, Super Bowl 51. It's Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Atlanta Falcons, the NFC champions, squaring off against your reigning and defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. It's on NBC. You know who's working it. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. New England, a 3 to 3.5 point favorite. Patriots lead the all-time series 7-6. And good news, Bullock, you're going to like this. You're going to love this stat. The Patriots have won the last 5 consecutive meetings with the Falcons, including that epic comeback in Super Bowl 51. That was their last meeting, of course, Super Bowl 51 in Houston, 28-3. We'll never forget it. We've seen all the GIFs. We've seen all the memes about it.
And the shirts as well.
Yes, and the shirts as well. Patriots won it 34-28 in the first ever overtime game in Super Bowl history. A game that went from an absolute dud to a 5-star classic, chock full of the greatest Shakespearean drama you will ever see. Their last regular season meeting was 2013 in Atlanta at the old Georgia Dome. Patriots won 30-23. Their last meeting in Foxborough, got to go back to 2009. Patriots won that 26-10. The last time the Falcons beat the Patriots, not just in Foxborough, but overall as well, you had to go all the way back to 1998 when the Falcons put a 41-10 beatdown on the Patriots in 98 at the old Foxborough Stadium. Of course, the Falcons went on to the Super Bowl that year as well. You know, Chris Chandler, Jamal Anderson, they kicked the door down and made themselves at home at the old Foxborough Stadium. Again, I know Bullock likes to forget, but, you know, it is what it is. But I think we've covered all the schematics. This game came in at the number 2 game of the week, according to the FBI. On paper, I would have had this as number 1. But like I said, after what Kansas City and Oakland did, I can see why they ranked KC and Oakland just ahead. So, all right, Michael Bullock, it's only fitting you get to start this off. Rematch of the century. We've waited 8.5 months for this. Coming off the greatest Super Bowl of all time and the first ever overtime in the Super Bowl. The big question is, can your Patriots do it again? Or do the Atlanta Falcons get their revenge?
Man, when the schedule came out and the Falcons were on there, I think we knew that this was, everybody had this marked down on their calendar, and the hype has been there. I mean, everybody's been talking about it. I mean, how the Patriots came back, the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, down 28-3. We all were thinking, oh, this is going to be, oh, it's over. But somehow the Patriots came back and won Super Bowl 51, and you know the Atlanta Falcons want revenge, but they got to go into Gillette Stadium to get that revenge. And the thing that's going to inspire them more, Florio, all they got to do is look up to the right and see that banner hanging right at Gillette Stadium, because they feel like it should have been them winning the Super Bowl, but it didn't happen. So, and the thing is, of course, the Patriots, they're going to be without 2 of their corners, Stephon Gilmore and Eric Rowe. They'll be out they're out with injuries, but looks like they might be getting Rex Burkhead back. So that could be key when it comes to the running game. So, and let's not forget, Rob Gronkowski didn't play in that Super Bowl. The Patriots are going to have Gronk for this game. So it'll be interesting to see how the Atlanta Falcons defense, how they'll try to stop Rob Gronkowski. And of course, as we already know, no Julian Edelman. So Man, this is going to be a tough one. The last two games, I mean, the Falcons have lost. I mean, they've blown leads. And of course, the Patriots, of course, coming back and winning some of their, of course, winning last week. And then, of course, the previous week, holding on to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, like I said, I haven't liked what I've seen from Atlanta, especially not being able to hold on to a lead. So, this is going to be a good one. I think this is going to be a 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. But in the end, I got to go with the New England Patriots to win this one. They are at home. Like I said, I mean, I'm just not convinced with Atlanta, especially with the way they've blown leads. I think Brady will have a solid game. Gronk will have a solid game as well. Looks like, I mean, we may get some of James White, and so yeah, I mean, so the Patriots, I have them winning this one. I'm gonna go 30-27 in overtime. I mean, this match would be so good. So, nothing more to say. Florio, we've been waiting since Super Bowl 51, and now we're going to get it Sunday night.
And a fun quirk of the schedule, boy.
Yeah.
Fun quirk of the schedule. The Falcons are in the midst of playing each of the 4 AFC East teams in a row. A less fun twist, if you're a Falcons fan, at least, is that they've started the 4-game stretch with home losses to my Buffalo Bills and Fletcher's Miami Dolphins. Despite the unexpected setbacks, the Falcons are still very much alive in the hunt for the playoffs, but that could change with another loss. They now have a 45% chance to make the playoffs and a 22% chance at the NFC South title. A win moves them to 59% for the playoffs and 30% for the division, while a loss brings those down to 38% and 18% respectively. Just give me a minute here. Okay. The Falcons are fresh off coughing up a 17-0 lead in their Week 6 loss to the Dolphins, and still hear talk of them blowing a 28-3 advantage in a 34-28 overtime loss to the Patriots in Super Bowl 51. Sunday night, they'll have a chance to exercise those demons by winning the rematch. The Falcons and Matt Ryan need to utilize all their offensive weapons against the Patriots defense that has struggled to stop anybody while surrendering 26.5 points a game. But the Falcons won't win if they keep up a trend that has seen them outscored 72-40 this season after halftime. Look for offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian to stick with the running game with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, both averaging at least 4.5 yards a rush, and look for Sarkisian to get Julio Jones involved in the red zone, where the all-pro receiver has been targeted just once this season with no catches. This is the 8th time in NFL history the 2 Super Bowl teams meet the following regular season. The Super Bowl winner has been victorious in 5 of the previous 7 matchups. The key will be turnovers, as the Falcons are a surprising -4 this season, while the Patriots, who are allowing 325 passing yards a game, 4th most through 6 games by any team in NFL history, are +3. That was a stat that Falcons coach Dan Quinn pointed out, saying, being +3 in the turnover margin gives you a hell of a chance to play at your best. So with that being said, I know you think it's going to be a 5-star game, Bullock, and I think it will for the most part, but I think it's going to be close, maybe through 3.5 quarters or so, but I think New England will win. I agree with you. I got the Patriots winning, but I think New England will pull away late to win, so, and have a little more comfortable win. So I'm going to go with the New England Patriots to win as well. My final score, 41-27, New England over Atlanta in the Super Bowl rematch. I think it's going to be great for like 3 quarters and part of the 4th, but I think New England will pull away late and find a way to get it done. So give me the Pats in that one. Now we move on to our final game of the week, Monday Night Football. Another great divisional matchup, also meaning for the 2nd time this season. The Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. ESPN, you know who's working that. Sean McDonough, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. They'll be there for that one. And the spread favors the Philadelphia Eagles by 4.5. Eagles 4.5-point favorites against the Redskins. So let me see here. They met in week 1, and they met in Washington, and the Eagles came away with the win. I don't remember what the score was, but I do know Philadelphia won that game, snapping a 5-game losing streak to the Redskins. And they came out of Washington with a win for the first time since 2013. And they look to beat the Redskins at home for the first time since 2014. Redskins have won the last 2 meetings in Philadelphia, including 27-22 last year. So the all-time series now is 85-74 with 5 ties in favor of the Washington Redskins. And this game came in at number 4 in our FPI top 5. Aaron Rodgers' injury crushed the Packers, and it also shook up the landscape of the NFC. All of a sudden, the Eagles are the new favorites in the conference, and it's not even that close. Philadelphia has a 45% chance of entering the postseason as the number 1 seed in the NFC, dwarfing the main challengers in the Vikings, 15%, and Seahawks, 14%. The Eagles also have the best shot to reach the Super Bowl, 31% of any team in the conference. What's fueling the Eagles is the obvious: Carson Wentz. The former North Dakota State quarterback was treated like a rising star after last season despite largely playing poorly. But this time, the breakout is legitimate. Wentz is 3rd in total QBR, trailing only other neophyte signal callers in Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott. Kirk Cousins can't win on Monday nights. He's 0-5. However, the Redskins quarterback has fared well in his second meeting of a season against a division opponent. 4-2 record, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, total QBR of 75. So what does all that mean? Well, the Redskins definitely have a chance to help Cousins go 1-5 on Monday nights. The problem? Injuries. Washington lost defensive lineman Jonathan Allen, and there's still uncertainty over injured starting corners Josh Norman and Bashaud Breeland. If those two play, the Redskins have an excellent chance. Then it will come down to third downs. The Redskins were 3 of 11 in the opening loss to Philly, while the Eagles were 8 of 14. But the health issues are concerning. Very much so. I do have another trade of thought. I'm trying to find it, so just give me 1 second. Okay. Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins noted Washington's offense looks much different from when these two teams played in the opener, with zone reads and jet sweeps added to the attack. It appears Cousins has developed more of a rhythm with his new receivers as well. The Eagles also have evolved, particularly when it comes to the ground game. They averaged 21 rushes for 78 yards over the first 2 games. Those numbers have soared to 35 rushes for 158 yards over their 4 most recent outings. Washington needs this game more than Philly, but the Eagles should continue to roll on offense against a banged-up Redskins defense. So with that being said, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. My final score, I'm going to go 31-27, Philadelphia over Washington. Fly, Eagles, fly. Nothing left to say. Michael Bullock, Monday Night Football. Is it all hail the Redskins, or is it fly, Eagles, fly?
Oh, I think it's going to be fly, Eagles, fly, because I mean, I really like what I've seen from this Eagles team. And, I mean, the offense, of course, led by Carson Wentz. I mean, this team certainly has become the new favorites in the NFC. I mean, whether they can take it all, that remains to be seen. But the Redskins, like you said, they've not looked good on Monday Night Football. I just don't see that changing. So I, too, have the Eagles winning this one. I'm going to say 31-28 is going to be my final score. It'll be fly, Eagles, fly. So let's move on to the power rankings, Florio.
And the worst part is I'm going to have to conjure up all of these. I mean, I lost my wingman in MF. I mean, what a time for MF to come down with an illness. But
well, there's nothing you can do about it.
Do you have any idea how much of a chore this is going to be? Goodness gracious. But I'm going to do my best. You know me, I always do my best. I'll find a way out. Okay, let's get to it. I do have a couple of honorable mentions. One of them is the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what they did against Buffalo, so definitely need to keep track of that. I'll say it like this: my number one team, my number one team's an absolute no-brainer. That's all I can say on that. Number one's a no-brainer. That's it. Every other 2 through 10, yeah, good luck. That's all I'm gonna say is good luck. The team I have at number one, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That team, the team I have at number one, without a doubt, absolutely positively deserves it. So, boy, howdy, I wish Bullet could be more of a help on this, but you know, it is what it is. So I'll do my best. Like I said, if only MF was here, this really would have helped. But nonetheless, let's get into it. Let's see. Number 10. Who starts off at number 10? Well, based on my rankings from last week, I do have some duds. First dud, Green Bay Packers, no doubt about it. Not only did they get beat down by Minnesota, but they lost Aaron Rodgers for the year, so Green Bay's out. And the Baltimore Ravens are out. I don't have them in there at all. I mean, they lost to the Chicago Bears, for goodness sakes. That's not going to help your cause. See you later. And I believe I have everybody else as is. So, and one other, and that's the Jets. I had them at number 10 last week. They lost the Bullocks Patriots, although they played them very tough. I'll give them credit. And my other the biggest stud of the week, I forgot about that. Denver Broncos losing at home to the winless Giants with no OBJ, no Brandon Marshall, and no Sterling Shepard. I still can't believe they coughed it up like that. But it is what it is. So I think we have all the schematics out of the way on that. So let's start it off with the number 10. Number 10, I'm actually going to start it off with, let me see, who do I have? It was a close loss. Normally, we don't punish teams for close losses, but I'm going to keep them in there anyway. The Carolina Panthers, I'm going to drop them down to number 10. They're still a first-place team. They had a tough loss to Philadelphia on that Thursday night, 28-23. They got the Bears coming up. And then they have a tough game against Tampa Bay next week, which we'll get into. But, no, it was not a good night for Cam Newton. He threw 3 interceptions. He was also sacked twice. Carson Wentz threw 3 touchdown passes. And 2 of those to Zach Ertz. And the defense helped. And, of course, special teams played a role in it as well. And Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, half a sack apiece. Justin Hamilton had a half a sack. Derek Barnett a half a sack. And Jalen Mills and Rasul Douglas with interceptions. And, you know, nice. I was talking about Philadelphia. I'm sorry about that. I'll get into them later. Cam Newton had 3 interceptions, was sacked twice. Newton also had a rushing touchdown, 71 yards. And Kelvin Benjamin, 99 yards receiving. McCaffrey had a receiving touchdown, played well. Both kickers played well. Julius Peppers, Thomas Davis with sacks of Carson Wentz. James Bradbury had a sack as well. They had 3 sacks on the night. I'll give Carolina's defense credit, but it was just they came up just a little bit short. They dug themselves too big of a hole, but they made it interesting in the end and only lost by 5, so that's good enough for me. So Carolina Panthers are number 10. So Michael Bullock, how about
Yeah,
it?
I got the Carolina Panthers. They're my number 10 as well. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. So I say we just move on to our number 9.
And moving down to number 9. Remember, these rankings are retroactive to last week. I believe I have the Kansas City Chiefs here. Yes, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. I have them here at number 9. They lost 19-13 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bullock, if you could lower that noise on your end, that would be a help. I'm trying to think on this. Alex Smith was sacked 3 times, 246 yards passing, had a TD, no picks. Kareem Hunt was held in check, 21 yards rushing, but he did have 89 yards receiving. DeAnthony Thomas, a receiving touchdown. Solid game. D Ford had a sack. Marcus Peters had an interception. They played. They hung with Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh just too much at the end, especially that unbelievable play towards the end of the game with Antonio Brown, which we'll get more into in a little bit because I got Pittsburgh in there as well. So Kansas City Chiefs, number 9. Michael Bullock, what do you say?
Yeah, my number 9 is the Kansas City Chiefs as well. I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, it was just a horrific performance by the Kansas City Chiefs, especially offensively. I mean, yeah, I mean, so there's really nothing more to say. So you pretty much touched on it. So number 9 is the Houston the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry. So now let's move on to number 8.
Okay, number 8. All right, let's see who's number 8 here. Carolina 10, KC 9. Okay, 8. Who's number 8? With all those shakeups, it definitely doesn't make it easier. Who they play last week? Oh, this is tough. One other honorable mention I forgot to mention: Washington Redskins. Only a 2-point win over San Francisco. I need to see a little more from them. If they beat Philadelphia, they're in, no doubt about it. So I need to see a little more from Washington. I don't think they deserve to be in there just yet. They're on the outside looking in. So now let's move on to number 8. And that is... I think I'm going to go with the Houston Texans here. 33-17. Yeah, it was against Cleveland, but they did what they were supposed to do against a dud team. And whereas the Redskins did not. Even though they won, I wanted to see a little more from them. Deshaun Watson continuing to impress, making a strong case for Rookie of the Year. 3 touchdown passes, threw an interception. But the defense of Houston, 4 sacks and 3 interceptions of Browns quarterback Kevin Hogan. They were definitely back, no question about it. Lamar Houston with a sack, Curtis Drummond, DJ Reader with sacks, and Jonathan Joseph, 2 interceptions, and also took one to the house. And Dylan Cole had the other interception. That's how you take care of business against the dud team. So my number 8 is the Houston Texans. Michael Bullock, what do you say?
Yeah, my number 8 is the Houston Texans as well. So I like what I've seen from Deshaun Watson, and I mean I want to see more out of this team, especially defensively, since they lost 2 of their key defensive players. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So let's move. Yeah, so now let's move on. I think it's number 7, right?
Yeah, it's 7, and I got the Tennessee Titans as my number 7. 36-22 over the Indianapolis Colts. Marcus Mariota over 300 yards, had a TD and a pick. Defense only had 1 sack of Jacoby Brissett, but the offense pretty much took care of the work. Derrick Henry, 131 yards and a touchdown. DeMarco Murray had a touchdown as well. Receiving core did well. Taylor had a receiving touchdown. And, nice win for Tennessee. Right back in the thick of things in the South, and they took care of business against the division rival. 2-touchdown win, impressive performance for me. So Tennessee's number 7. Michael Bullock, whatever. Well, how about it?
Yeah, my number 7 is the Tennessee Titans as well. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. Let's move on to number 6.
It's all right. Who do I have at 6? Let me see. Okay, let's see. 6. I believe number 6 is yeah. It's starting to come a little bit clearer now. My number 6, I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams. Rams back in the win column. They defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-17, knocking Jacksonville out of the power rankings. Jacksonville was another dud team, by the way. What a great game for the Rams. The defense with 5 sacks of Blake Bortles and an interception. Jared Goff, not the best of games. But Todd Gurley, though, 116 yards rushing. Ever had a receiving touchdown, but it was pretty much the defense and special teams that really did it. That really did the job. Pharaoh Cooper opened the game with a 103-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And they also had a blocked punt touchdown as well. And 5 sacks for the defense. I mean, that was pretty much the difference maker. They blocked, and Jacksonville's kicker missed 2 field goals. That definitely helped the Rams out. Connor Barwin, Mark Barron, Michael Brockers, Aaron Donald, and Morgan Fox had the sacks. Nickel Roby Coleman with the interception. He had that for 31 yards. And just a very impressive performance by the Rams. Back in the power rankings here. So number 6, Los Angeles Rams. Michael Bullock, how about it?
Yes, number 6 is the LA Rams, and like I said earlier, I mean they just continue to impress me so far this season, and yeah, I told you all about them earlier. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So let's get into our top 5 now.
My top 5. I'm going to start it off with I'm going to start off the top 5 with your team, Michael Bullock, the New England Patriots. New England Patriots back in the top 5 in the power rankings. Back on top in the AFC East as well. Knocking off the Jets 24-17 in the Meadowlands. They've won 2 in a row. They got the huge one against the Falcons on Sunday night. And Tom Brady becoming the all-time winningest quarterback of all time, surpassing Brett Favre and Peyton Manning. Brady, 257 yards, 2 TDs, threw a pick. The defense stepped up big time, especially in the second half. 4 sacks and 2 interceptions of Josh McCown. Deion Lewis, a rushing touchdown. Brandon Cooks and Gronk had huge games, especially Gronk, 2 receiving touchdowns to go with 83 yards. Cooks had 93 yards. And the defense, though, they needed to step up, and boy, did they ever. Kyle Van Noy with 2 sacks, Dante Hightower with a sack, and Malcolm Brown with a sack. Malcolm Butler and Devin McCourty had the interceptions. Just an all-around impressive performance by the Patriots, especially in the second half. So really nothing left for me to say on this. Number 5, New England Patriots. What do you say, Michael Bullock?
I agree. Number 5 is my team, the New England Patriots. Yeah, I mean, they certainly have played better defensively. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So I'm just gonna move on, and let's move on to number 4, Florio.
Number 4, if only MF was here, he'd be a very happy man right now. I got his Miami Dolphins at number 4. They've won 2 in a row. But here's the thing. They went into Atlanta and they beat the Atlanta Falcons. They've won 2 in a row. They got by Tennessee. They got the Jets coming up. And what a tremendous win for the Miami Dolphins. What a comeback indeed. Coming back from 17-0 down to win, scoring 20 unanswered points. Cutler, 2 touchdown passes. Matt Ryan, they got to Matt Ryan. They sacked him twice and picked him once. Ajayi, over 130 yards rushing. Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills receiving touchdowns. Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh had sacks. Rashad Jones had the interception for 15 yards. And the Miami Dolphins, all of a sudden, back in that AFC East race. You go into Atlanta and you beat the Falcons, that's top 5 worthy in my book. So there's really nothing left for me to say on this except I got the Miami Dolphins at number 4. So, Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, number 4 is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, boy, that was impressive for them to go into Atlanta and to beat the Falcons. Boy, I mean, I knew. I mean, when I heard they won, I knew Fletch. I had a feeling Fletch was going to be a happy man. So, yeah. So there's really nothing more to say. Miami Dolphins are number 4. So let's go into the top 3 now.
I do have one team I forgot. I actually had a tie at number 8. In addition to the Houston Texans, the Seattle Seahawks, because they had a bye. So, and I had them at 8 last week, so I got to keep them there. So, all right, top 3, no question about it. This top 3 is no brainer, no question about it. Based on what I saw, number 3 cracking the top 3, if you can believe it. Well, actually, I think I might have to have a tie here. I think I need to have one more tie here. It will not be at number 3. This is a standalone number 3, and that number 3 is the New Orleans Saints. They've won 3 in a row, 3-2, and a 52-38 shootout over the Detroit Lions last week in the Dome. I mean, just an all-around impressive offensive performance. Well, Drew Brees didn't do much, 2 TDs and 2 picks, but the defense, this was the defense. 5 sacks and 3 interceptions of Matthew Stafford. Mark Ingram, 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ted Ginn had a touchdown. Michael Humanawahi had a touchdown. But like I said, the defense, they were the difference maker for the Saints. Cameron Jordan, 2 sacks and an interception, which he ran back for a touchdown. Craig Robertson had a sack. Alex Okafor with a sack. Von Bell with a sack. And Kenny Vaccaro also had the other interception. And Marshawn Lattimore had an interception as well. They had 2 pick sixes in this game. So there's absolutely no question about it. I mean, that was one of the best Saints performances I've seen in a long time, probably since the Super Bowl. So New Orleans Saints, number 3, give it up. Michael Bullock, what do you say?
Who'd you have at number 3?
New Orleans Saints.
Oh yeah, I mean the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, they're my number 3 as well. I mean, they continue to get better and better. I mean, when they lost the first 2 games, I mean, I thought that that this was going to be the beginning of a another tough season for them. So, but I continue to be impressed with them. So, New Orleans Saints are my number 3, and yes, I forgot. I have Seattle as my number 8 as well. So, let's just move on to number 2.
And I have a tie at number 2. It's not often we have a tie at number 2, but in this case, I feel that these two teams, both coming off impressive wins, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings are my co-number 2s in the power rankings. Pittsburgh went into Kansas City, beat the Chiefs 19-13, handed the Chiefs their first loss of the season, and did it very impressively. Ben Roethlisberger, 252 yards, a TD and a pick. Defense sacked Alex Smith 3 times. Le'Veon Bell, 179 yards of rushing and a touchdown. Antonio Brown, 155 yards of receiving and a touchdown, and one of the sickest receiving touchdowns you will ever see. If you saw that game last week, unbelievable. And James Harrison had a sack, but Vince Williams had 2 sacks. And so very impressive win for the Steelers to go into Arrowhead, loudest stadium in the NFL, shut those fans up, and the Chiefs their first loss of the season. So they're the first of the 2 number 2s. My other number 2, it's the Minnesota Vikings. 4-2, they lead the North. They not only beat the Packers, but they knocked out Aaron Rodgers. They took out Aaron Rodgers, and they put him down for the season. Anthony Barr with the hit that knocked Aaron Rodgers clean out. And then after that, it was smooth sailing for Minnesota. Sacking Brett Hundley 4 times, picking him off 3 times. Case Keenum, 239 yards and a touchdown. McKinnon had a rushing touchdown. Thielen, 96 yards receiving. McKinnon had a great day on the offensive side. 69 yards rushing and a touchdown. 30 yards and a receiving touchdown. So 99 yards and 2 touchdowns, all purpose for McKinnon. Very big game for that young man. But the defense, though. Brian Robinson, Everson Griffin, 1 whole sack apiece. Harrison Smith, 1.5 sacks, had an interception for 19 yards. Xavier Rhodes with an interception for 2 yards. Linval Joseph, half a sack. Trey Waynes with an interception for 3 yards. If it wasn't for the number 1 team, you could have easily made an argument for Pittsburgh or Minnesota to be number 1. But the team I have at number 1 clearly deserves it. They're the hottest team as far as I'm concerned, and they deserve to be number 1 more than any. So, co-number 2s, Pittsburgh Steelers, Minnesota Vikings. Michael Bullock, how about it?
Yeah, I agree. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings is my number 2. So, all right. Number 1, and I think we all know who it is. It is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Amen.
I mean, it's fly, Eagles, fly. And, man, I mean, going into the season, we didn't know what to expect from this team. And I never would have thought we see them leading the NFC East. I mean, Carson Wentz has been playing good. The defense has definitely been playing good. So, there's really nothing more to say about them. Philadelphia Eagles, number 1. Florio, how about that?
You got it, baby. They are number 1. It is the Philadelphia Eagles, 4 in a row since that tough week 2 loss to Kansas City at Arrowhead. They beat the Giants. They beat the LA Chargers. They blew out Arizona, and they won a huge game against Carolina last Thursday night. They got a couple of easy games left. They got the Redskins. That'll be a little bit trap game. Then they got the Niners coming in. That'll definitely be an easy win. Then they got the Broncos coming in before they go on the bye. 28-23, they defeat Carolina, and Carson Wentz, 3 touchdown passes. Yeah, he was sacked 3 times, but it is what it is. The defense of Philly, 3 interceptions of Cam Newton, also sacked Newton twice. It was Aguilar and Zach Ertz with the receiving touchdowns. Ertz had 2, Aguilar 1. And let's look at the defensive efforts. several different players had half a sack in the game. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Justin Hamilton, Derek Barnett, Mills and Douglas, and Robinson had the interceptions. They're the hottest team right now. They've won 4 in a row. And I say they'll make it 5 in a row come Monday night. And if that's the case, then they'll very likely stay number 1 next week. So nothing left to say here. Philadelphia Eagles number 1. And that will put a bow on this edition of NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to get into our shout-outs now. So, Michael Bullock, before we get into your shout-outs, of course, you will not be a part of our TLC preview tomorrow night because you got the very special Benefast event tomorrow night. But I want to get a quick thought from you. We talked about this earlier. You called me up right around 4 this afternoon, and we talked about the huge news of the day. Kurt Angle coming out of retirement to team up with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose against the Miz and Strowman and The Bar and Kane. And, of course, AJ Styles against Finn Balor. You want to give a quick thought on TLC before you do your shout-outs?
Yeah, going into this this TLC, we thought this was going to be a meh event here, but now with the news of the day with Kurt Angle coming out of retirement, and he's going to join Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose to take on The Miz, The Bar, Braun Strowman, and Kane. Just made it very interesting. But what's even more interesting, Finn Balor's now, the Demon Finn Balor's now going to be going up against SmackDown Live's phenomenal AJ Styles. Oh my goodness. This is definitely going to be the fight of the night here. That is, I mean, that's how I see it. So, I mean, you also got the Raw Women's title match. I mean, the Cruiserweight title match, but those two matches are the ones I'm really looking forward to seeing, especially now with the news that came down. So, I'm going to say this is, to me, I think it's going to be about a 7 out of 10, if I'm going to be quite honest here. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I'm going to say about TLC. So now getting to my shout-outs. Of course, we want to thank you all so very much for tuning in for another edition of a Strictly Sports NFL Friday here. So, and of course, shout-outs to all of our tremendous fans out there who support our shows, whether it's this Ridiculously Raw or the Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. And of course, so shout out to all of our friends, all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. All of our news personalities from 6, 10, and 12. All of our personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, MLB Network, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, all the other networks out there. Of course, our friends from The Road Show. Of course, former co-hosts Mary Larson and Megan Mooney. And, of course, the 3 current people, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson. So, yeah. So, that's going to do it for me. So, Monday night, when I see you guys for the recap of TLC, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And, of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy your weekend, everyone. Florio, take us home.
Yes, we'll do, Michael Bullock. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout outs to our super fans and insiders. Of course, Dee Woodson, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Woodson. Of course, Kevin Woodson and the Woodson family. Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Albert Anderson, and Rob Parsons. And of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher. MF started the show, but unfortunately couldn't go the distance. Sounded to me like he had some sort of a headache there. So unfortunately, MF had to bow out. But hopefully he'll be better before tomorrow night when we do our TLC preview show. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to reach out to Didi Woodson and see if she can join me. But we'll see what happens. And then Derek Ferreira, of course, Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Falcon Striker 445. Best shout out, best wishes to him. Of course, all of our personalities, like Bullock said, 61012. Our personalities from ESPN, FS1, NHL Network, NBA TV, NFL Network, MLB Network. Lindsey McCormick, State of Sorrel. They will battle it out. Auburn and Arkansas tomorrow night. So we'll see how that goes. And shout outs to them as always. Of course, Julie Alexandria, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, as well as Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And of course, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out on exit 25 off Route 95. Special event today, a community event at Social Park in Woonsocket this afternoon around 2. And Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Bible study, 10 a.m., a little after Sunday service. And then Wednesday night at 7, Bible study, other things going on. And a very special shout out to my very good friend, Jacqueline. Her birthday was this past Monday. I've shared some birthday love with her, and want to wish her nothing but the absolute best, and hopeful of seeing her this weekend, and that's pretty much it. So yes, future content coming up, of course. Tomorrow night, the TLC preview show. Hopefully MF will be ready. Maybe we'll have Didi Woodson, I don't know, but we do know Bullock will be out. Sunday, of course, immediately following the event, we will have our recap. And then Monday night, we have Ridiculously Raw. We'll sort out all the fallout from it and perhaps begin the road to the Survivor Series. Very exciting. And my latest 20 stake on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And Tuesday night, Cerebral Smack Talk over with MF on his channel, Graceman 95, SmackDown Live. The final Ultima Lucha Trace recap for Lucha Underground as part of his Mikey's Mindset. Maybe some other things, we'll see. Next Thursday, we got College Football Thursday, another great slate of action, as will next week on NFL Friday. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for my TLC preview, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, go to LMF Michael Fletcher, Didi Woodson, and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday. And until I see you for the TLC preview tomorrow night, you've been watching Strictly Sports NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, Anthony Florio, for now, so long.